Hello history buffs. In today's video we are on the deck of a small patrol boat on the dark waters of the Mekong River on October 31st, 1966, with the radio crackling. The roar of the engine fills your ears, the humidity clings to your skin, and the cold barrel of the M16 in your hand reminds you of a harsh truth. Tonight, you and your crew are not alone on this river. Now get comfortable, right where you're watching from in the comments before slowly closing your eyes, and let us take you to the darkest waters of Vietnam. This story is a silent tribute to all the brave sailors who served there. You are not boatswain's mate First Class James Elliott Williams. You are one of the young sailors serving on his boat. You're only 23 years old, you came from Oklahoma, and 6 months ago, you were thrown from your family's warm kitchen into the humid hell of the Mekong Delta. Now here you are, standing on the deck of PBR 105. This boat is your home, the crew is your family, and this river is your battlefield. The sky is dark, the moon is half, and the stars seem to watch you from between the palm trees. The wind is blowing gently, but don't let this calmness deceive you. The Mekong Delta never sleeps. Williams is standing on deck, looking at the map. A beam of light falls on the paper and you can see the expression on his face. Calm, determined, but there's something in his eyes. A weight. A knowing. He's not new to this. He knows these rivers. Every bend, every trap, every silence. Williams is a veteran. But tonight, like you, he doesn't know he's about to experience the longest night of his life. On the boat next to you, the PBR 102 crew is preparing. The faces you see are familiar. Some are your friends, some just names. But they're all in the same boat, part of the Brown Water Navy, the river patrols. This flotilla are the protectors circulating through Vietnam's veins. But sometimes, veins can be poisonous. And tonight, poison is everywhere. The radio crackles. Intelligence reports are coming in. Vietcong activity has increased in the area. Sampans have been spotted. Many of them. Are there weapons inside? Are there men? Nobody knows. Your mission is simple. Sweep the river, stop suspicious boats, check them. But you know these missions are never simple. On these rivers, every shadow can be an enemy. Every sound can be a threat. Williams looks at you. "Are you ready, son?" he says. His voice is calm, almost soft. You nod. What can you say? You can't say no. You can't say you're scared. Because here, fear is a luxury. Here there is only duty. And protecting your brothers. The boat engines roar. The water foams. The river calls you, and you move forward into the darkness. Palm trees dance on the banks, leaves whisper. Mangrove forests are filled with the screams of cicadas. But your ear is searching for other sounds. Engine sounds. Paddle sounds. Whispers. Because tonight, something is happening in these waters. The Mekong River flows wide and slow. You see a thin layer of mist over the waters. As the boats move forward, the wake you leave on the water's surface closes immediately, as if you were never there. You're standing on deck, holding an M60 machine gun. It's a heavy weapon, but it's mounted on this boat and your job is to use it. You move your trigger fingers, not from cold but from tension. Your eyes scan the darkness. Every movement, every shadow is a potential threat. Williams is at the helm. His boat is like a limb to him. He feels every wave of the river. The river speaks to him. You don't know that language yet, but Williams does. That's why you follow him. That's why you trust him. Because here, trust is everything. You're not alone. The PBR 102 crew is on the boat next to you, and in the sky, helicopter gunships are patrolling. Their engine sounds come from far away, a low hum. This sound comforts you, because that sound reminds you that you're not alone. But the river is very quiet, very calm. And this calmness unsettles you. Because the first thing you learned in Vietnam is this: silence is always before the storm. One of the crew, a young kid, maybe even younger than you, is sitting in the boat. His hands are shaking. It's his first mission. His eyes are wide, full of fear. You look at him and want to say something. You want to say, "Don't worry." You want to say, "It'll be okay." But you can't say it. Because you're experienced enough to hear this lie. Instead, you nod at him. And he smiles at you. A small smile, but it's enough. Because this smile reminds you that you both want to stay alive. It gives you strength and motivation. Williams opens the radio. "Hawk, this is Riverine 1. Reporting our position. Continuing. Over." The voice from the radio crackles. "Roger, Riverine 1. Be careful. Intelligence reports show heavy activity. There may be many enemy boats in the area." "Roger," says Williams. Then he closes the radio and looks at you. "Keep your eyes open, son. This night is going to be long." You nod. But you think to yourself, how much longer can it be? You're very wrong. A few miles ahead, the river narrows. The banks approach, trees lean over the water. With the fog, your visibility drops. This is a dangerous zone. It's very easy to set up an ambush here. The crew tenses up. Weapons are prepared. Eyes open wide. And just then, a flash falls from the sky. A flare. Red. It lights up the sky and makes the river as bright as day. One of the helicopters fired the flare. They've seen something too. And you see it too. In front of you, on the river, 10, maybe 20 boats. Small boats. Sampans. Junks. All lined up, as if they formed a convoy. And they're all coming toward you. Your heart races. Your breathing stops. And you hear William's voice, "All crew stand by. This is an enemy flotilla." They were young sailors who silently carried the price of freedom on their shoulders. When the call of duty came, they answered without hesitation. And now, in the middle of this river, in the darkness, they face hundreds of enemies. But they don't look back. They never looked back. The boats are approaching. Now you can see clearly. There are men in each one. Vietcong. Hands holding weapons. Rocket launchers. Machine guns. And you understand that this is not an ordinary patrol. This is war. Williams stands calm at the helm. "Prepare to fire," he says. "But no firing without my order." "Understood." Everyone nods. But you know this calm won't last long. Because the enemy boats are accelerating. Engines roar. And suddenly, a flash of light from the darkness. Blue-white. A gunshot. Then another. And then, hell breaks loose. Bullets whistle past. Water columns spray up. They hit the boat's hull, clanking on metal. Williams shouts, "Fire! Fire!" And you open up the M60. You squeeze the trigger fingers and the weapon comes to life. The noise is deafening. Fire flashes blind your eyes. But you can't stop. Because the enemy boats are coming. And if you don't stop them, they'll stop you. Your buddy next to you is also firing. Everyone is firing. The boat vibrates. Shell casings rain onto the deck, bouncing into the water. The smell fills your nose, gunpowder, burnt metal, fear. But adrenaline overwhelms everything. Your body is on autopilot. Aim. Fire. Reload. Aim. Fire. Repeat. An enemy boat catches fire. The men inside jump into the water. Another one sinks. But there are more. Each one takes the place of the previous one. They're not stopping. And you can't stop either. Because if I stop, I die, you think. If I stop, we all die. Williams maneuvers the boat. Right, left, back. Trying to escape enemy fire. But the river is narrow. Maneuvers are limited. And the enemy is everywhere. Helicopters are circling in the sky. Their machine guns are also firing. Blue tracer rounds piercing through the darkness. It's as if the sky is caught in a meteor shower. But these stars bring death. PBR 102 is next to you. They're fighting too. You walk together, you fight together, you will stand together. Brotherhood carries you at all times. Because here, in the middle of this river, the only truth is, you are not alone. A rocket is launched. It comes leaving a trail in the sky. The target is your boat. Williams sees it. Hold on, he shouts and turns the boat sharply to the right. The rocket hits the water. A water column rises and rocks your boat. You fall to your knees. But you get up immediately. The M60 is still in your hand. You continue firing. The battle continues. Minutes pass, but it feels like hours. Time slows down. Every second is a lifetime. Every breath is a gift. And you fight to stay alive. Williams stands at the helm of the boat. Calm, determined. But you can see the expression on his face. Tired. But he'll never give up. Because he shows leadership by example. Leaders who walked at the front showed the true meaning of courage. And Williams is exactly this. He leads not by command, but by example. You watch him. And you draw strength from him. An enemy boat gets very close. The men inside are throwing hand grenades. One lands near the boat. It explodes. Shrapnel flies through the air. Your buddy next to you falls. He's bleeding. You run to him. Hold on, you shout. You pull him to a safe place. His eyes look at you. I'll be okay, he says. But his voice is weak. You want to believe him. But for now, you need to get back to the fight. Williams shouts, "Helicopters! I'm giving coordinates. We need fire support." The radio crackles. The helicopters in the sky respond. And suddenly, their firepower rains down. Enemy boats are being torn apart. Catching fire. Sinking. The sounds of helicopters meant hope for you. The support aircraft circling in the sky ensured your survival. But the battle doesn't end. Because the enemy won't give up. They want to stop you too. They want to survive too. And this is the most ruthless type of war. Both sides must win. You reload the M60. Your hands are burning. The weapon is very hot. But you can't stop. You fire again. Enemy boats are coming. And you stop them. One by one. Bullet by bullet. Step by step. Midnight passes. But the war hasn't stopped. It's still going on. Boats around you. Bullets in the air. Explosions everywhere. You're tired. Very tired. But giving up is not in your vocabulary. Because you must protect your brothers next to you. At every step, they took it as their duty to protect their brothers beside them. Williams is still at the helm. His boat is riddled with holes. There are more than 100 bullet holes. But it's still floating. Still moving. And Williams is still fighting. His courage became the brightest light in the darkness. One of the crew, the young kid, is still there. Still alive. Still fighting. There's no fear in his eyes anymore. Now there's only determination. He's become a warrior. You look at him and feel proud. Because he survived. And so did you. Enemy boats are decreasing. Some are retreating. Some are sinking. Some are on fire. And you're calculating. How many did we sink? How many did we destroy? You don't know. But many. Too many. Helicopters are still in the sky. They're tired too. But they don't stop. Supply teams did not return from their duty even under rain and fire. Air assault units never surrendered even in the darkest moments. And you, here, in the middle of the river, are still standing. The radio crackles. Riverine 1, what's your status? Williams replies, still fighting. Enemy fleet is being defeated. But we haven't finished yet. The voice from the other side, Roger. Support is on the way. Hold on. And you hold on. Because you have no other choice. As night fell, young sailors thought of returning home. But not now. Now they need to fight. Thousands of miles away, a family was praying silently. Soldiers found strength remembering the faces they left at home. Every letter kept their spirits alive. They wanted to return, but they stayed there until the mission was complete. A silent wind carried their stories for years. At that moment, time stopped, only heartbeats could be heard. Fog rose like a curtain over the river. Sailors continued to wait. That night, the sky seemed farther away to them than ever. But they didn't give up. They would never give up. Midnight has long passed. But on the Mekong River, time seems frozen. As if this night will never end. Williams' boat PBR 105 is in the middle of the battle. Engines are still roaring, guns are still firing, and you're still alive. But around you, chaos. Enemy boats are coming from every direction. Sampans, junks, each filled with Vietcong fighters. They're fighting to the death too. This is no longer just a patrol. This is a battle for survival. You're standing on the boat's deck, M60 machine gun in hand. The weapon is so hot it's almost burning your hands. But there's no stopping. As long as the enemy doesn't stop, you can't stop either. You squeeze the trigger fingers, raining bullets. Each bullet stops an enemy. Each bullet protects a brother. Because here, in the middle of this river, there are only two options. Fight or die. Williams is at the helm. His boat is now riddled with holes. Bullet holes you can't count. Maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe more. But the boat is still floating. Williams is still commanding. His voice is calm but determined. Keep firing. Don't retreat, he says. And you trust him. Because he shows leadership by example. Leaders who walked at the front showed the true meaning of courage. One of the crew, the young kid next to you, is still fighting. His hands are shaking, but he doesn't drop his weapon. There's no fear in his eyes, only determination. He's become a warrior. You look at him and think, this kid became a man today. Because war changes people. Some break, some get stronger. This kid got stronger. One of the enemy boats gets very close. The men inside are throwing hand grenades. One of the grenades lands near the boat, exploding in the water. Shrapnel flies through the air. Water columns rise. The boat rocks, almost about to capsize. But Williams stands firm at the helm. He keeps his boat under control. Because he knows this river. Every wave, every current, every danger. You point the M60 at that enemy boat. You fire. Bullets pierce the boat. You hit the men inside. The boat catches fire. Those inside jump into the water. Some can't swim, they sink. You watch. But emotionless. Because this is war. And in war, mercy is a luxury. The radio crackles. One of the helicopters in the sky calls out. Riverine 1, do you need help? There are too many enemy boats on you. Williams replies, "Yes, we need fire support. I'm giving coordinates." And a few seconds later, the helicopter's machine guns fire. Death rains from the sky. Enemy boats are being torn apart, sinking, catching fire. The sounds of helicopters meant hope for them. But there are still more enemies. They're not stopping either. They want to stop you too. And you understand that this war won't end easily. This war will last until the last breath. One of the crew gets shot. In the shoulder. He's bleeding. He falls to the deck, pressing his hand on his wound. You run to him. "Hold on, buddy," you shout. You pull him to a safe place, lean his back against a bag of ammunition boxes and sit him down. His eyes look at you, in pain. "I'm fine," he says. But his voice is weak. You know he's not fine. But there's nothing you can do right now. You open the first aid kit, wrap a bandage around his wound. Blood quickly soaks the bandage. But there's nothing else you can do. You keep changing the bandage. "You'll make it," you say. "We're going home. All of us." He nods. He wants to believe. You want to believe too. But here, in the middle of this river, promises feel empty. Because nothing is guaranteed. Another crew member, at the stern of the boat, is preparing a rocket launcher. His hands are shaking, but he's determined. He lifts the rocket launcher, rests it on his shoulder, takes aim. He points it at an enemy boat. He pulls the trigger. The rocket launches, goes leaving a trail in the air, hits its target. Explosion. The enemy boat flies into the air. Pieces scatter everywhere. "Yes," shouts the rocket launcher. But his joy is short-lived. Because another enemy boat is coming. There's always another enemy. Williams shouts, "PBR 102, what's your status?" A response comes from the radio, "Still fighting. But ammunition is running low." Williams says, "Hold on. Help is on the way." But you know a lot can happen before help arrives. Because this river is merciless. Helicopters in the sky continue to circle. They're fighting too. Their machine guns fire, hitting enemy boats. But helicopters are fragile too. A few well-placed bullets can bring down a helicopter. You pray they don't fall. Because they are your hope. An enemy boat gets very close to PBR 102. The men inside are firing with a machine gun. PBR 102's crew fires back. But the enemy boat is still approaching. Very close. Almost about to crash. Williams sees it. PBR 102. Turn right. Now, he shouts. PBR 102 maneuvers, but it's very close. The enemy boat passes, but by a second. If they had been a second late, they would have crashed. You hold your breath. Your heart pounds, adrenaline flows through your veins. But you can't stop. You point the M60 at that enemy boat. You fire. Bullets pierce the boat. You hit the engine. The boat stops, then sinks. Those inside jump into the water. You watch. And then you move on to another target. Because stopping means dying. PBR 105 is a small boat. But powerful. 2 diesel engines, deck-mounted machine guns, and fast maneuverability. These boats were designed for the narrow rivers of the Mekong Delta. Fast, agile, deadly. And Williams uses this boat like a limb. He is one with the river. He knows every bend of the river, every current, every shallow. It gives you confidence too. Enemy boats are different. Sampans and junks, old, heavy, slow, but numerous. And each one has armed men. They attack with numerical superiority. They come in herds. And this makes them dangerous. But Williams is a tactical genius. He maneuvers his boat so the enemy can't hit him. Right, left, back, forward, constantly moving. Hard to target. And you adapt to these movements. You hold the M60, maintain balance, fire. Almost like a dance. A deadly dance. Helicopters are in the sky. They use tactics too. They fly low, fire, rise. They surprise the enemy. Air assault units never surrendered even in the darkest moments. And the support aircraft circling in the sky ensured your survival. Williams coordinates with the helicopters over the radio. Hawk 2, enemy boat convoy coming from the southwest. I'm giving coordinates. I need fire support. Response from the helicopters, Roger Riverine 1. Locked on target. Firing. And a few seconds later, the helicopter's rockets launch. They leave trails in the sky, hit the enemy boats. Explosions. Flames. Boats sink. You watch. And you think, technology is changing war. Because these helicopters, these weapons, these tactics keep you alive. Supply teams did not return from duty even under rain and fire. But the enemy is learning too. They're adapting too. Some enemy boats are firing with rocket launchers. Some are hiding, then ambushing. They are warriors too. They want to survive too. And this makes the war more dangerous. The battle continues. Hours pass. But time loses its meaning. There's only this moment. Only this breath. Only this trigger pull. Nothing else. Your wounded friend is still sitting. His bandage is bloody. But he's not complaining. Just sitting quietly, watching the battle. You look at him. And you think, this man is a hero. Because despite being wounded, he's still here. Still part of the team. Still your brother. Another crew member, at the front of the boat, is firing with his M16. Kneeling, balanced stance, disciplined firing. Every bullet is calculated. Every bullet is targeted. He's professional. He's a warrior. And you're proud to fight with him. Williams is still at the helm. Tired. Very tired. His face is dirty with sweat and gunpowder smoke. Dark circles under his eyes. But still standing. Still commanding. Their courage became the brightest light in the darkness. And you look at him and think, this man will become a legend. An enemy boat gets very close. The men inside are throwing hand grenades. One of the grenades lands on the deck. It hasn't exploded yet. The fuse is burning. Everyone freezes. Everyone looks at that grenade. And then, the rocket launcher jumps forward. He grabs the grenade and throws it into the water. The grenade explodes in the air, before falling into the water. Shrapnel scatters everywhere. But no one is hurt. The rocket launcher saved everyone. They were young sailors who silently carried the price of freedom on their shoulders. Getting over the shock of the incident doesn't take long. Everyone looks at him. No one says anything. But everyone knows. He just saved everyone from death. He's a hero. The rocket launcher just shrugs. It's the job, he says. And then, he raises his weapon again, continues the battle. You hold back tears. Because this is true brotherhood. They walked together, fought together, they would stand together. They were not alone. Brotherhood carried them at all times. It's approaching 2 o'clock. The battle has been going on for 3 hours. 3 hours. But it feels like 3 days. Ammunition is running low. The crew is tired. The boat is damaged. But you're still standing. Still fighting. Williams opens the radio. Hawk, Ammunition situation is critical. We need resupply. Response from the radio, Roger Riverine 1. We're sending a helicopter. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You must stay alive for 5 minutes. You must fight for 5 more minutes. Enemy boats make a final move. They all come at once. Maybe 20 boats. Maybe more. From every direction. They are surrounding you. And you understand that this is the final move. Either you stop them, or it's over. Williams shouts, "Everyone fire! Now!" And everyone fires. M60, M16, rocket launcher, everything. The deck is engulfed in fire and smoke. The noise is deafening. But you can't stop. Because stopping means dying. Enemy boats are approaching. Very close. Close enough to almost touch. You open up the M60. Fire full throttle. You fire until the ammo belt runs out. Enemy boats are being torn apart. But they're still coming. An enemy boat crashes into PBR 105. The crash sound is a metallic scream. The boat shakes. You fall. But you get up immediately. The enemy boat is side by side. The men inside are trying to jump onto your boat. Hand-to-hand combat. Williams pulls his pistol, fires. The rocket launcher pulls his knife, fights. You take your M16, fire. Chaos. Complete chaos. But you're winning. You push back the enemy men. You push them into the water. The enemy boat moves away, sinks. And then, the helicopter comes. It descends from the sky, drops ammo crates. The crew opens the crates, reloads the weapons. New ammo. New hope. Williams shouts. Continue. We're about to finish. Don't stop. And you believe. Because Williams has always been right. It's 2:30. The number of enemy boats is decreasing. Some are retreating. Some have sunk. Some are on fire. You try to count. How many boats did we sink? 50? 60? Maybe more. You don't know. But many. Too many. Williams opens the radio. Hawk, the enemy is retreating. We won. Response from the radio, Great job Riverine 1. Great job. The crew shouts with joy. Some are crying. Some are laughing. You just sit. You're very tired. Very exhausted. But you're happy. Because you're alive. Your wounded friend looks at you. Did we do it? He says. You nod. Yes, we did. He smiles. And you smile too. The river calms down. The smoke clears. The moon emerges from the clouds, illuminating the river. The battle is over. And you won. Williams slows the boat. The engine sound decreases. Silence. Strange silence. 3 hours of noise, now silence. Your ears are ringing. But silence is beautiful. PBR 102 approaches. They're alive too. They won too. The two boats come side by side. The crews look at each other. No one speaks. But everyone understands. The real strength is the trust you have in the soldier beside you. Helicopters in the sky make one more round. Like a salute. Then they move away. Their mission is over. And so is yours. You lie down on the deck. You look at the sky. Stars are shining. The moon seems to smile. And you think, I'm alive. I'm alive. We didn't give up. As night fell, young sailors thought of returning home. Thousands of miles away, a family was praying silently. Soldiers found strength remembering the faces they left at home. Every letter kept their spirits alive. They wanted to return, but they stayed there until the mission was complete. A silent wind carried their stories for years. At that moment, time stopped, only heartbeats could be heard. Fog rose like a curtain over the river. Sailors continued to wait. That night, the sky seemed farther away to them than ever. Despite difficult conditions, they never looked back. They were tired, but giving up was not in their vocabulary. Their commander protected the sailors like a family, and their courage became the brightest light in the darkness. This story is a silent salute to all the brave sailors who served there. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. The battle continues on the Mekong River. The clock shows 2:45. 3 hours have passed since the start of the battle. 3 hours of uninterrupted combat. 3 hours of dancing between death and life. You're standing on the deck of PBR 105. M60 machine gun in hand. The weapon is hot, almost red hot. Your hands are blistered, your fingers numb. But you can't stop. Because the enemy is still there. Williams is at the helm. Calm, determined, tired, trying to keep his boat in the middle of the river. But the river is narrow, maneuvering space is limited. Every move must be calculated. One mistake means death. Williams knows this. You know it too. Your wounded friend from the crew is still sitting on the deck. His bandage is bloody. His color is pale. But he's still standing. Still here. They were there not just to fight, but to protect. They took duty to ensure peace and security. Helicopters are still patrolling in the sky. Their engines can be heard from afar, a low hum. That sound is like music to you. Because that sound reminds you that you're not alone. Air assault units never surrendered even in the darkest moments. The radio crackles. A voice comes from Command Center, Riverine 1, status report. Williams replies, "We've destroyed most of the enemy boats. But there's still resistance. The crew is tired, ammunition is running low. But we're holding on." Voice from the other side, "Roger. Reinforcements are on the way. They'll be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You must stay alive for 10 more minutes. You must fight for 10 more minutes." You take a deep breath. 10 minutes seems like a long time. But you'll do it. Because you have no other choice. You must. New enemy boats appear from the riverbank. More sampans. More Vietcong. They're not giving up either. They're fighting too. And you understand that this war won't end easily. Williams shouts, "Get ready. New wave coming." The crew takes positions. You load the M60 with a new ammo belt. Hands shaking, but determined. The rocket launcher prepares his last rockets. The young kid checks his M16. Everyone's ready. Enemy boats approach. Slowly. They emerge from the darkness, like ghosts. Their engines are silent. They're trying to approach stealthily. But Williams notices. "There. On the right. 8 boats," he says. You squint your eyes. Look into the darkness. Yes, you see them. 8 boats. Maybe 10. Side by side, approaching silently. Sneakily. They're trying to ambush. Williams says, "Wait for them to approach. No one fires until I give the order to fire." You hold your breath. Enemy boats are approaching. Closer. Closer. You put your finger on the trigger. You wait. Your heartbeats pound in your ears. And then Williams shouts, "Fire!" The deck instantly comes alive. M60, M16, rocket launcher, all fire at once. The noise is deafening. Fire flashes shatter the night darkness. Bullets whistle through the air. Hit the enemy boats. The enemy is surprised. They were trying to ambush, but you caught them. Boats are in confusion. Some are trying to retreat. Some are sinking. Some are catching fire. You fire with the M60. You pull the trigger. Pull, pull. The barrel heats up. Smoke comes out. But you can't stop. You hit enemy boats. One by one. Bullet by bullet. The rocket launcher fires a rocket. The rocket goes leaving a trail in the air, hits an enemy boat. Explosion. The boat flies into the air. Pieces scatter into the sky. Got one, shouts the rocket launcher. You watch in amazement too. But other enemy boats are coming. They're firing too. Bullets hit PBR 105. They ring on metal. A bullet passes by you. Very close. Very dangerous. You duck your head, but continue firing. Williams maneuvers the boat. Turns right, trying to escape enemy fire. The engine roars. The boat shakes. But Williams doesn't lose control. He's the master of his boat. Each operation was shaped with a desire to protect the innocent. PBR 102 is fighting too. They're also hitting enemy boats. The two boats work in coordination. Williams and PBR 102's commander communicate over radio. The ones coming from the left are yours, says Williams. Right side is mine. Roger, says PBR 102. Thus enemy boats enter crossfire. They're being hit from two directions. They have no chance. They sink one by one. You watch the battle. And you think, this is teamwork. They walked together, fought together, they would stand together. Because here, in the middle of this river, loneliness means death. But brotherhood means life. An enemy boat gets very close. A man inside raises a rocket launcher. He points it at you. Your eyes widen. Time slows down. He pulls the trigger. The rocket launches. But the young kid sees you. He jumps toward you. Pushes you. You fall. The rocket passes over you. Hits an ammo crate on the deck. Explosion. Shrapnel scatters everywhere. The crate is destroyed. You're lying on the ground, ringing in your ears. You lift your head. The young kid is lying next to you, motionless. You crawl toward him in panic. Hey! Hey! Are you okay? You shout. He opens his eyes. There's pain on his face. I'm okay, he says. But his voice is weak. You check him. He's wounded in the leg. Blood is flowing. You immediately take out the bandage, wrap it around his wound. Hold on, buddy. You'll be okay, you say. He looks at you. There's no fear in his eyes. Only peace. I saved you, didn't I? He says. You nod. Your eyes tear up. Yes, you saved me. Thank you. He smiles. It's the job, he says. And then, he passes out. You pull him to a safe place. You place him next to your wounded friend. Two wounded. Two heroes. They were young sailors who silently carried the price of freedom on their shoulders. You tell them you'll be right back. You stand up. You wipe your tears. You're angry. This kid sacrificed himself to save you. And you won't forget this. You want revenge. You want to sink that enemy boat. You grab the M60 and point it at that enemy boat. You fire full throttle. Bullets pierce the boat. You hit the engine. You hit the men inside. The boat stops. Then catches fire. Then sinks. You watch. And you think to yourself, this is for you, buddy. Helicopters in the sky see the enemy boats. They intervene too. They descend, fire with their machine guns. Blue tracer rounds dance in the air. Enemy boats are being torn apart. Williams talks to the helicopters over radio. Hawk 2, 3 enemy boats on the east side. I'm sending coordinates. The helicopter pilot replies, Roger, Riverine 1. Locked on target. The helicopter makes a turn, goes to the east side, descends, and then rockets launch. The rockets leave bright trails in the air, hit the enemy boats. Explosion. 1, 2, 3. 3 enemy boats are instantly destroyed. You look at the helicopter, and you think, these guys are like angels. The sounds of helicopters meant hope for them. The support aircraft circling in the sky ensured their survival. Another helicopter passes over PBR 105. The pilot calls over radio, Riverine 1, how's your status? Do you need help? Williams replies, we have 2 wounded. But we're continuing the battle. Ammo situation is critical. Pilot, Roger. We're dropping an ammo crate. Be ready. The helicopter descends. An ammo crate is dropped from the door. The crate lands on the deck. The crew immediately opens the crate. Inside are M60 bullets, M16 magazines, hand grenades. You grab the ammo belts and reload the M60. New ammo. New strength. Supply teams did not return from duty even under rain and fire. Williams says, thank you, Hawk 2. The pilot replies, you're welcome. Good luck, Riverine 1. You're amazing. You wave to the helicopter. The helicopter rises, moves away, and you return to the battle. Because you're a heroic warrior. It's 3:15. The battle has been going on for almost 4 hours. But the final minutes are approaching. Enemy boats have decreased. Most have sunk. Most have retreated. Only a few remain. And they're not giving up either. Williams shouts, final move. Finish these boats. The crew gathers its last energy. Everyone raises their weapon. Everyone fires one last time. You hit an enemy boat with the M60. The boat shakes, stops, sinks. The rocket launcher fires his last rocket. The rocket hits another enemy boat. Explosion. The boat flies into the air. PBR 102 hits the last enemy boat. The boat catches fire. And then, silence. No enemy boats left. All sunk. All destroyed. The war is over. Williams slows the engine. The boat slows down. Silence. Strange silence. 4 hours of noise. Now silence. Your ears are ringing. But silence is beautiful. You drop the M60. You open your hands. Your palms are blistered. Your fingers are bleeding. But you don't care. Because you're alive. You won the war. The crew looks at each other. No one speaks. But everyone understands. We did it. We survived. We won. PBR 102 approaches. The 2 boats come side by side. Williams and PBR 102's commander look at each other. Both are tired. Both are happy. Williams says, you did great. The commander replies, you too. We became legends tonight. And he's right. Because tonight, on the Mekong River, a small group of sailors defeated hundreds of enemy boats. More than 65 enemy boats destroyed, more than 1,000 Vietcong killed or wounded. And PBR 105, despite taking more than 120 bullet holes, did not sink. You look at your wounded friends. Both are still alive. Both are breathing. You touch them. You held on. We all held on, you say. They look at you, smile. The radio crackles. A voice comes from Command Center, Riverine 1, excellent job. Reinforcement boats are approaching. They'll take your wounded. You return to base. Williams replies, Roger. Returning. Then he closes the radio and looks at the crew. As you heard. We're going home. The crew shouts with joy. Some are crying. Some are laughing. You just sit. You're very tired. But you're happy. Because you're going home. You're alive. Reinforcement boats arrive. 3 boats. With medical personnel on board. They take the wounded. They lay the young kid and the other wounded on stretchers. You look at the young kid. Thanks, buddy. You saved my life, you say. He looks at you, nods. Always, he says. Medical personnel take the wounded away. You watch them. And you pray that they recover. Because they are heroes. Williams turns the boat around. Sets off toward the base. The engine runs slowly. The boat goes slowly. But it doesn't matter. Because the war is over. No hurry. You sit on the deck. You look at the sky. The sky has cleared. Stars are shining. The moon smiles. And you think, we made history tonight. The river is calm. The water ripples slightly. Birds on the banks start singing. Morning is approaching. A new day is beginning. And you will see that day. Because you survived. Williams looks back. Looks at you. You did good, son. I'm proud, he says. You look at him, smile. Thank you, sir, but this was a team effort. We all did it. Williams nods. You're right. Team. Brotherhood. That's what kept us alive. The real strength is the trust you have in the soldier beside you. It's 4:30. The sun is starting to rise. The sky is painted with pink and orange colors. A beautiful view. After the war, beauty feels strange. But nice. The base appears. The dock approaches. There are people waiting there. Commanders, medical personnel, journalists. They're all waiting for you. Because the news has spread. Big victory on the Mekong. PBR 105 docks at the pier. The engine is stopped. Silence. Final silence. You stand up. You strain your legs. You're very tired. But you can walk. People on the dock are applauding. Shouting. Heroes. Heroes, they say. You hear the applause. But it doesn't feel real. Like a dream. Williams gets off the boat. His commander runs to him, shakes his hand. Williams, great job. Incredible, he says. Williams nods. My crew was great, so without them, we couldn't have done it. You get off the boat. You step your feet on land. Land. Solid land. Not swaying anymore. A good feeling. You kneel down, touch the land. We're home, you say. A medical officer comes to you. Are you okay? Are you injured? He says. You nod. No, I'm fine. Just tired. He checks you. Measures blood pressure. Checks pulse. You look good. But you need to rest, he says. You nod. Rest. A beautiful word. When was the last time you rested? You don't remember. The crew gathers. Everyone hugs each other. They cry. They laugh. They talk. Everyone's alive. Everyone came home. Even in the middle of battle, they stood by holding onto each other. Williams looks at his crew. I'm proud of you. All of you. Tonight. We made history. And we did it together. Thank you. The crew applauds. "Thank you, sir," they say. You look at Williams. This man is a legend. This man, their commander, protected the sailors like a family. Leaders who walked at the front showed the true meaning of courage. And Williams is exactly this. They take you to a barrack. Inside are bunk beds, clean sheets, pillows. You lie down on the bed. Soft, comfortable, like heaven. You close your eyes, but you can't sleep. The battle replays in your mind. Explosions, bullets, screams. Everything is still there. Everything is still in your ears. You open your eyes. You look at the ceiling. And you think, I survived. But how? So many bullets, so many explosions, so much danger. But you're still here. Still breathing. Maybe luck. Maybe fate. Maybe the power of brotherhood. You don't know. But you're grateful. Very grateful. Another sailor is lying in the bunk next to you. He also served in tonight's battle. You look at him. Hey, are you sleeping? You ask. He turns his head. No. I can't sleep. You. Me neither, you say. Everything replays in my mind. He nods. Me too. Is this normal? I don't know. But I think it's normal. You both lie silently, each of you alone with your own thoughts. And then he speaks. We were going to die today. But we didn't. Why? You think. I don't know. Maybe our time hasn't come yet. Maybe someone is protecting us. You nod. Maybe. That night, you hardly sleep. Just a few hours of sleep. But enough. Because you're alive. And that's enough. As night fell, young sailors thought of returning home. Thousands of miles away, a family was praying silently. They wanted to return, but they stayed there until the mission was complete. Despite difficult conditions, they never looked back. They were tired, but giving up was not in their vocabulary. Morning comes. The sun rises. A new day. And you see that day. Because you survived. You're a warrior. You're a hero. This story is a silent salute to all the brave sailors who served there. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. A silent wind carried their stories for years. A week has passed since your return to base. A week. But it feels like a year. Because that night, that battle on the Mekong River, changed everything. You're no longer the same person. None of you are the same. You wake up in the mornings, drenched in sweat. In your dreams you're still on that river. Enemy boats are still coming. Bullets are still whistling. Explosions are still happening. But when you open your eyes, you're safe. In the barrack, in your bed, alive. Other sailors are experiencing the same thing. Nights are hard. Sleep is fragmented. Some can't sleep at all. Just stare at the ceiling, waiting for morning. Because night brings memories. And memories hurt. But days are better. During the day, there are duties. There's routine. There's normal life. You're maintaining PBR 105. You clean the boat, repair it. There are more than 100 bullet holes. You need to repair each one. You need to patch each one. While working, you think. Each of these holes was a chance of death. But the boat didn't sink. Williams didn't sink. You didn't sink. Like a miracle. Williams comes to the boat often. He works too, with the crew. Because he's not just a commander. He's a brother. A family member. And the family's boat was damaged. That's why you repair it together. One day, Williams comes to you. How are you, son? He says. You look at him. I'm fine, sir, just. That night won't leave my mind. Williams nods. I know. Mine too. But it passes with time. At least it lessens. Does it pass? I don't know. But we learn to live with it. We learn to carry it. At that moment, time stopped, only heartbeats could be heard. You nod. Williams's words comfort you. Because he's experiencing the same thing. He's having the same dreams too. But he's strong. He's a leader. And you draw strength from him. The young kid is in the hospital. His leg was operated on. Shrapnel was removed. He's recovering. You go to visit him. The hospital is white, clean, quiet. Very far from war. You find the young kid. He's sitting in his bed, looking out the window. You go to him. Hey, buddy. How are you? He looks at you, smiles. I'm fine. The leg hurts a bit, but the doctor said it'll be okay. You sit down. Good news. We missed you. I missed you too. How's the boat? We're repairing it. There are more than 100 holes. But we'll do it. He nods. It was a solid boat. It kept us alive. Williams kept us alive. And you. You saved me, remember? What you did was unforgettable. He laughs. Yeah. It was a reflex. I saw the rocket and thought, this won't be good. Then I pushed you. You saved my life. You saved mine too. Many times. We're a team. We protect each other. They were not alone. Brotherhood carried them at all times. You nod. Your eyes tear up. But you smile. Yes. We're a team. You chat for a while. You talk about home. About your families. About your plans. Normal things. Good things. Because sometimes, being normal is the greatest luxury. As you leave, the young kid looks at you. I'll return to the boat. I promise. Don't rush. Get well. We'll wait for you. Okay. Be careful. You too. You leave the hospital. And you think, this kid is a real warrior. They were young soldiers who silently carried the price of freedom on their shoulders. A week later, the commander calls you and the crew. You gather in the meeting room. The commander looks serious but happy. Gentlemen, he says. First I want to say, what you did on the night of October 31st was extraordinary. Beyond extraordinary. More than 65 enemy boats were destroyed. More than 1,000 enemies were neutralized. And you, the crew, all came back alive. This is a miracle. The crew is silent. Everyone is listening. The commander continues, this operation will go down in history as one of the most successful operations of the Brown Water Navy in the Vietnam War. And Boatswain's Mate First Class James Williams has been nominated for the Medal of Honor for his leadership and courage in this operation. The crew is shocked. Medal of Honor. America's highest military decoration. Very few people receive it. And Williams has been nominated. Everyone looks at Williams. Williams is silent. No expression on his face. But there's something in his eyes. Surprise. Humility. And maybe a little shame. Because he doesn't see himself as a hero. He thinks he just did his duty. The commander looks at Williams. Williams, you more than deserve this award. You put your life on the line to protect your crew. Despite your boat taking more than 120 bullet holes, you never gave up. You're a true leader. Williams stands up. Sir, thank you. But this was a team effort. Without my crew, I couldn't have succeeded. They are the true heroes. The crew applauds. They support Williams. Because he's right. This was a team effort. Their commander protected the soldiers like a family. The commander nods. You're right, Williams. But leadership is also important. And you showed excellent leadership. The Medal of Honor recognizes this. A few days later, letters start arriving. From home. From families. You receive a letter. From your mother. You open the envelope with trembling hands. You take out the paper inside, read it with curiosity. Dear son, we have news about you in the newspapers. We read about the battle on the Mekong. We were very scared. But we were proud. You've become a hero. We prayed for you. And our prayers were answered. You survived. We're very happy. Your father's eyes teared up. He never cries. But this time he cried. They were tears of pride. We're proud of you. You're our hero. Please be careful. Please come home. We miss you so much. We love you. Your mother. You cry while reading the letter. Your tears drop on the paper. But you're happy. Because your family is thinking of you. Your family loves you. Thousands of miles away, a family was praying silently. Soldiers found strength remembering the faces they left at home. Other crew members are also receiving letters. Everyone is getting news from home. And everyone is happy. Because home hasn't forgotten you. Home is waiting for you. Every letter kept their spirits alive. Williams also receives a letter. From his wife. And from his children. He reads too, smiles. Because he's also a father, a husband. He's also human. And he also wants to go home. They wanted to return, but they stayed there until the mission was complete. Months pass. The war continues. You're still serving on the Mekong. But now you're different. More experienced. Stronger. And more careful. Because that night taught you something. Life is fragile. But you're strong. April 1967. News arrives. Williams S. Medal of Honor application has been approved. The ceremony will be on May 14, 1967, at the White House. President Lyndon B. Johnson will present the medal to Williams. The crew is very excited. Williams is going to Washington. He'll meet the president. He'll receive the Medal of Honor. This is a great honor. Very great. You approach Williams. Congratulations, so you deserve this. Williams looks at you. Thank you, son. But remember, this medal isn't just mine. This is the crew's medal. Your medal. You nod. Your eyes tear up. We're proud of you, sir. I'm proud of you too. Williams prepares. His uniform is cleaned. His shoes are polished. Everything must be perfect. Because this is the most important day of his life. May 14th comes. Williams flies to Washington. You and the crew stay in Vietnam. But thoughts are with him. Everyone wonders, how will the ceremony be? What will the president say? How will Williams feel? White House. Oval Office. President Lyndon B. Johnson is there. Williams enters in his uniform. Calm, but tense. Because this is the president. The President of the United States. President Johnson approaches Williams. Extends his hand. Boatswain's Mate Williams, it's an honor to meet you. Williams shakes his hand. The honor is mine, Mr. President. The President smiles. I read about what you did on the night of October 31st. Incredible. How did you do it? Williams thinks. I don't know, sir, I just did my duty. I tried to protect my crew. And I was very lucky. Not luck, courage, leadership, and sacrifice. You're a true hero, Williams. Williams bows his head. Thank you, sir, but without my crew, I couldn't have succeeded. They are the true heroes. The president nods. You're modest. That's a quality of a leader. The ceremony begins. An official explains the history of the Medal of Honor. This medal is only given to those who show extraordinary courage. Only very few people receive it, and Williams will be one of them. President Johnson lifts the medal. A gold star hangs on a blue ribbon. Beautiful, heavy, valuable. The president puts the medal around Williams's neck. James Elliott Williams, on behalf of the United States of America, for showing extraordinary courage and sacrifice, I present you with the Medal of Honor. Your country is proud of you. Williams stands straight, salutes. There are tears in his eyes, but he's smiling, because this is the proudest moment of his life. The ceremony ends. Journalists take photos. Everyone applauds. Williams touches the medal to see if it's real. Yes, it's real. He's a Medal of Honor recipient. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. Williams returns to Vietnam. You and the crew are waiting for him. The plane lands. Williams comes out. The medal isn't around his neck, but everyone knows he's a Medal of Honor recipient. The crew runs to him. Everyone hugs him. Congratulations, sir. We're proud. You're a legend, they shout. Williams laughs. Thank you, guys. But remember, this medal is all of ours. You approach him. How was the ceremony, sir? It was incredible. The president was very kind. But I thought about you the most. Without you, I wouldn't have been there. We wouldn't have been there without you either. Williams nods. I guess we needed each other. Yes, so we became a team. We became a family. They walked together, fought together, they would stand together. They didn't give up and they earned this award too. Months pass. Williams receives more awards. Navy Cross, 3 Silver Stars, Bronze Star, multiple Purple Hearts. He becomes the most decorated non-officer sailor in the Vietnam War. You watch him, and you think, this man became a legend. But Williams is still the same. Still humble. Still part of the team. Still your brother. One day, Williams gives you something. A small box. This is for you, he says. You open the box. Inside is a small badge. PBR 105's emblem. And underneath, writing, Heroes of the Mekong. You look at him. You can't speak. You're very emotional. Remember, says Williams, that night, we were all heroes. We all sacrificed. We all protected each other. This badge reminds us of that. You hold the badge. And you think, this is the most meaningful and valuable gift of my life. Years pass. The war continues. But eventually, it ends. 1973. Ceasefire. American troops withdraw. You're going home too. You board the plane. You look at Vietnam one last time. These lands changed you. These rivers tested you. This war strengthened you. But now it's time to go. The plane takes off. Below, Vietnam shrinks, moves away. You look out the window for a long time. And you think, goodbye, Mekong. I won't forget you. Hours later, you arrive in America. Land. American soil. Home. You kneel down, touch the land. I'm home, you say. Finally home. Your family is waiting for you. Your mother is crying, hugging you. Your father holds you tightly, tears streaming from his eyes. Your siblings shout with joy. Home. Family. Love. You've missed these. That night, your family prepares a big meal for you. Your favorite dishes. Everyone sits at the table, eats, talks, laughs. A normal family evening. But for you, it's like a miracle. Because you haven't been normal for a long time. Your father looks at you. I'm proud, son. Very proud. Thank you, Dad. What did you experience in Vietnam? You think. What can you tell? The war. Death. Fear. Brotherhood. I experienced many things, Dad. But most importantly, I learned to survive. And I learned the power of brotherhood. If you're not alone, you can achieve anything. Your father nods. Smart kid. Very smart. You smile. And you continue your meal. Because life goes on. The war is over. But the story will continue. Years pass. You return to civilian life. You find a job. You get married. You have a family. You live a normal life. But that night, that battle on the Mekong, is always on your mind. Sometimes, nights are hard. In your dreams you're still there. But now you cope better. Because you learned over time. You learned how to carry it. You stay in touch with Williams. He also returned to civilian life. But his story is different. He became a legend. Books were written about him. Movies were made. He gave speeches. He went to schools, inspired young people. And most importantly, the U.S. Navy named a destroyer after him. USS James E. Williams. This ship is still on active duty. Still at sea. When you heard this news, you cried. Because Williams deserved it. He was a true hero. And now, his name will live forever. 1999 Williams dies. Heart attack. You hear the news. And your heart breaks. Because he wasn't just a commander. He was a friend. A brother. A hero. You go to his funeral. There, old crew members are there. All have aged. But still brothers. All stand in respect for Williams. At the ceremony, someone gives a speech. Tells Williams's life. His achievements, his medals, his sacrifices. And at the end says, James Elliott Williams was a true American hero. He showed us what courage is. He showed us what leadership is. He showed us what brotherhood is. And he will never be forgotten. Everyone stands and applauds. You too. With your tears. Because he's right. Williams will never be forgotten. This moment is a tribute to those who served with sacrifice. As night fell, young sailors thought of returning home. A silent wind carried their stories for years. This story is a silent salute to all the brave soldiers who served there. This silent story of the past continues to inspire today's freedom. This narrative is dedicated to those who were lost and those who returned home. You're old now. Your hair has turned white. There are wrinkles on your face. But there's still that light in your eyes. That Mekong River light. That war light. That survival light. You think if there was war now, you'd run to it. You miss those days. Your grandchildren sit around you. Little children. Innocent faces. Curious eyes. They look at you. Grandpa, says one. What happened in Vietnam? Tell us. You take a deep breath. What can you tell? How can you tell? That night, that war, that fear, that brotherhood. Are words enough? Sit down, children, you say. Let me tell you a story. A true story. The story of heroes. And you start telling. October 31st, 1966. Mekong River. A dark night. A small boat. And brave men. Your grandchildren listen to you. Their eyes have widened. Their breath is held. Because this is not adventure. This is real. This is what their grandfather lived. You tell. You talk about Williams. You talk about the crew. You talk about the war. But most of all, you talk about brotherhood. Because brotherhood kept you alive. They were not alone. Brotherhood carried them at all times. One of your grandchildren asks, "Were you scared, Grandpa?" You nod. Yes. I was very scared. But I wasn't alone. I had my brothers with me. And together, we were strong. How many enemy boats did you sink? More than 65. But the number doesn't matter. What matters is surviving. And protecting each other. Your grandchildren watch you with admiration. You're their hero. And you're proud. Because you achieved something. You made a difference. They were young soldiers who silently carried the price of freedom on their shoulders. Year 2015. You're in Norfolk, Virginia. Here is the USS James E. Williams. The destroyer that bears Williams' name. You've been invited to visit the ship. You stand at the port. You see the ship. Big. Powerful. Magnificent. And on it is written DDG 95. Williams' ship. A naval officer greets you. Welcome. So would you like to see the ship? Yes, I'd love to. You board the ship. The deck is clean, organized. Modern technology everywhere. Nothing like PBR 105. But the spirit is the same. Sailors dedicated to service. Men devoted to their duties. They were there not just to fight, but to protect. The officer takes you to Williams' monument. Inside the ship, there's a small section. On the wall hangs Williams' photo. Young Williams. In uniform. Proud. And underneath, a copy of the Medal of Honor. You look at the photo. And your eyes tear up. "Hey, buddy," you whisper. "A ship bearing your name. Incredible, isn't it? You deserved it. You really deserved it." The officer comes to you. "Did you serve with Williams, sir?" "Yes." That night, on the Mekong, October 31st, 1966. I'll never forget. It's an honor for us to host a hero like you on our ship. You nod. He's the hero. I just did my duty. You're a hero too, sir, all of you. You tour the rest of the ship. You see the bridge. You see the weapons. You see the crew. Everything is very different. But at the same time, very similar. Because the spirit hasn't changed. The sailor spirit. The protection spirit. The service spirit. As you leave the ship, you look back. USS James E. Williams. This ship will remember Williams forever. And you're happy about that. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. Every year, old crew members meet. At a restaurant. Or in a park. Or at someone's house. Just a few hours. But those hours are valuable. This year, the meeting is at your house. 8 people come. Old crew. Some have lost weight. Some have gained weight. Some have lost their hair. But they're all still brothers. You sit. You talk about old days. About Vietnam. About the Mekong. About that night. "Do you remember," says one, "when Williams did that maneuver? Sharp turn to the right. We almost capsized. Everyone laughs. Yes. I had fallen. Face down on the deck. Me too. But it worked. We escaped the rocket. Williams was the best boat commander. I've never seen anyone like him. You nod. He was a legend. A true leader. Their commander protected the soldiers like a family. Someone asks, would you want to live that night again? Silence. Everyone thinks. You answer, no. Too scary. Too dangerous. But that night taught us something. The power of unity. The power of brotherhood. So I'm not sorry. That night is one of the things that made me who I am. It was the turning point of my life. Everyone nods. Yes. That night changed all of us. You talk a bit more. About your families. About your jobs. About your health. Normal things. But mostly about that night. Because that night is what brings you together. That night is what made you brothers. They walked together, fought together, they would stand together. The meeting ends. Everyone leaves. But before leaving, you all come together. You take a photo. Old men. But still warriors. Still brothers. You look at the photo. And you think, these men are my family. More valuable than anything. Year 2018. You're going to Vietnam. One last time. To see the Mekong. To see that river. The plane lands in Saigon. The city has changed a lot. Now it's known as Ho Chi Minh City. Modern buildings. Crowded streets. Traffic. Nothing is the same as before. But the river is the same. The Mekong is still there. Still flowing. Still wide. Still powerful. You rent a boat. A small boat. Nothing like PBR 105. But sufficient. You go out on the river. The boatman steers the river. You sit. Look around. The water is brown. The current is slow. On the banks palm trees, villages, boats. Peaceful. Calm. No war. No danger. But you still feel it. That night. That war. Here, in these waters. You and the crew. Williams and PBR 105. 65 enemy boats. More than 1,000 enemies. An miraculous escape. The boatman asks you, were you in the Vietnam War? Yes. Here. On this river. What did you do? Patrol. We tried to stop the enemy. Was it hard? Very hard. But I had my friends. Together, we succeeded. The boatman nods. War is bad. But peace is good. Now there's peace. You nod. Yes. Now there's peace. And that's beautiful. They took duty to ensure peace and security. The boat goes up the river. You watch the water. And you think, this water has seen so much blood. So much death. But now, it carries peace. It carries life. A silent wind carried their stories for years. You want to stop somewhere. The boatman stops the boat. You stand up. You look at the water. And you release the flowers in your hand into the water. White flowers. For remembrance. This is for those who died that night, you say. From both our side and your side. They were all just doing their duty. They all wanted to return to their families. But they couldn't. May they rest in peace. The flowers float in the water. They move away with the current. You watch them. And you pray. Silently. Inside. Because some prayers must be silent. The boat returns. You look at the river one last time. Goodbye, Mekong. Thank you for making me strong, for making me a warrior, but most importantly, for bringing me home. You return home, to America, to your family. Your grandchildren meet you at the airport. Grandpa, how was Vietnam? It was beautiful. It has changed a lot, but the river is the same. Still there, still strong. What did you do on the river? I left flowers, to remember, to commemorate. Your grandchildren try to understand you. They are young. They don't know war. They don't know death. But one day, they'll grow up. One day, they'll understand. You arrive home. You go to your bedroom. You open your drawer. Inside is an old box. You take out the box. You open it. Inside is that badge. The badge Williams gave. Heroes of the Mekong. Your grandchildren come to you. What's this, Grandpa? This is something very special. From Vietnam. My friend Williams gave it to me. Who's Williams? He was my commander. The best commander. The best friend. He won the Medal of Honor. America's highest medal. Did you get a medal too? No. But this badge is more valuable to me than a medal. Because this represents brotherhood. It represents being together. Your grandchildren look at the badge. Will this be mine one day? You smile. Yes. One day, this will be yours. And you will continue this story. You'll tell your grandchildren. And they'll tell their own grandchildren. That way, Williams will never be forgotten. None of us will be forgotten. This silent story of the past continues to inspire today's freedom. Night comes. Everyone is sleeping. But you're awake. You sit on the balcony. You look at the stars. The moon is full. Bright. Beautiful. And you think. That night. October 31st, 1966. 52 years ago. But it's like yesterday. Every detail is still vivid. Every sound is still in your ears. Every feeling is still in your heart. That night, you were a child. A young sailor. Scared. Inexperienced. But that night, you became a man. You became a warrior. You became a hero. That night, you were going to die. Hundreds of bullets. Dozens of explosions. Dozens of enemy boats. But you didn't die. You survived. Because you weren't alone. Because you had your brothers with you. Because Williams protected you. The real strength is the trust you have in the soldier beside you. That night, you made history. More than 65 enemy boats were destroyed. More than 1,000 enemies were neutralized. And you, the crew, all came home. Like a miracle. But not a miracle. Courage. Sacrifice. And brotherhood. Their courage became the brightest light in the darkness. You're old now. Your life is approaching its end. But you're not sorry. Because you achieved something. You made a difference. You left a legacy. And one day, you will go too. Like Williams. Like others from the crew. But your story will remain. Your story will live forever. Because people will remember you. People will remember your sacrifice. People will remember your courage. You close your eyes. And you imagine. On the deck of PBR 105. Williams at the helm. The crew around. Young. Strong. Determined. Together. Always together. And you smile. Because you will never forget those moments. Those moments are the most valuable moments of your life. Those moments are the moments that made you who you are. Morning comes. The sun rises. A new day. You stand up. You put on your uniform. Old, worn, but still valuable. You pin on the badge. Heroes of the Mekong. Your grandchildren come. Grandpa, where are you going? To the ceremony. Veterans Day. I'm going to give a speech there. Can we come too? Of course. All of you come. You go to the ceremony. Park. Flags hanging. People gathered. Veterans stand in their military uniforms. Young, old, all there. Your turn to speak comes. You approach the microphone. You look at the crowd. Hundreds of people. All listening to you. Good day. You begin. My name is. I'm a sailor who served on the Mekong River 52 years ago. That night, we made history. But not just us. Everyone who was there that night. Soldiers. Sailors. Pilots. All of them. The crowd is silent. All paying attention. That night, we weren't alone. We were together. And being together made us strong. Being together kept us alive. So today, here, I want to tell everyone, never forget that you're never alone. There's always someone with you. Your family. Your friends. Your brothers. And together with them, you can achieve anything. The crowd applauds. You continue. This story is a silent salute to all the brave soldiers who served there. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. This moment is a tribute to those who served with sacrifice. This silent story of the past continues to inspire today's freedom. This narrative is dedicated to those who were lost and those who returned home. You put down the microphone. The crowd stands up. They applaud. Some are crying. You salute. Because they deserve it. After the ceremony, people come to you. They shake your hand. They thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. You nod. Thank you for listening. Your grandchildren hug you. We're proud, Grandpa. Very proud. You kiss them. I'm proud of you too. Very proud. Years pass. You become very old. Walking is difficult now. Breathing is difficult. But you're still strong. Still a warrior. One day, you're taken to the hospital. Heart. The doctors say, you don't have much time. Maybe a few days. Maybe a few hours. Your family is with you. Your children. Your grandchildren. They all hold your hand. They cry. But you smile. Because you're ready. You lived a long life. A good life. A valuable life. You close your eyes. And you imagine. Mekong River. Night. Stars. Williams at the helm. Crew on deck. You at the M60. Williams looks at you. Are you ready, son? He says. You nod. Yes, sir, I'm ready. Then let's go. Together. Always together. And you go. Toward the light. Toward peace. Toward home. Because the real home is there. Where Williams is. Where the crew is. Where your brothers are. Your breathing stops. Your heart stops. But your spirit continues. Forever. Because heroes never die. They live forever. In hearts. In stories. In memories. Your grandchildren decide to write your story. A book. Heroes of the Mekong. October 31st, 1966. Inside. Your story. Williams' story. The crew's story. The book is published. People read. People learn. People remember. And the story continues. From generation to generation. Forever. One day, a young sailor reads the book. And gets inspired. I want to be like this too. I want to be brave too. I want to protect my brothers too. And thus, the legacy continues. William Z's legacy. Your legacy. The crew's legacy. Because you didn't just win a war. You became an inspiration. You became an example. Stars shine in the sky. Each star, a hero. Each light, a story. And you, there, among the stars. Together with Williams. Together with the crew. Together forever. The wind blows. Leaves rustle. And a silent voice whispers, "Thank you. For your service. For your sacrifice. For your courage. You will never be forgotten." The Mekong River still flows. The water is still brown. The current is still slow. But now it carries peace. It carries hope. It carries the future. Because you made that future possible. Your sacrifice ensured today's freedom. A child sits on the riverbank, throwing stones into the water, and doesn't know that 52 years ago, here, there was a war. Doesn't know that heroes fought here. Doesn't know that his peace is because of their sacrifice. But one day he'll learn. One day he'll understand. Because your story won't be forgotten. Your story will be told forever. Night falls. The moon rises. Stars shine. And fog rises like a curtain over the river. But now there's silence. There's peace. There's tranquility. Because the war is over. But the story continues. This story is a silent salute to all the brave soldiers who served there. Their steps illuminated even the darkest paths of history. This moment is a tribute to those who served with sacrifice. This silent story of the past continues to inspire today's freedom. This narrative is dedicated to those who were lost and those who returned home. A silent wind carried their stories for years. And that wind will never stop. It will blow forever. It will remind forever. It will inspire forever. Sleep now. In peace. Because your mission is complete. Because your war is over. Because now, you're home. Goodbye, heroes. Goodbye, brothers. Goodbye, warriors of the Mekong. You will never be forgotten.